this is the first camp I can enjoy myself, be back. My headspace that I'm in now is way better than what I was before, and that's the only thing that mattered to me.
Things out there about the size and all of this stuff, but people forget that Tank's a top 10 pound for pound fighter, and he's got power in both hands. And skill-wise and technique-wise, he's been doing this for so long.
I feel like Tank has the edge for sure. He's a real fighter, and got skills, high IQ fighter. Regardless of the weight, I've personally seen Tank, spar heavy.
Jake Paul hasn't been quiet about his preparation for the Gervonta Tank Davis fight. He's been vocal about the intensity of his training and the level of talent he's brought into camp. Jake even bragged about dropping a few sparring partners and mentioned that Shakur Stevenson will be joining him this week to help sharpen his game for the showdown. But in a rare moment of honesty, Jake admitted something unexpected, that Tank is dangerous. Many critics have labeled Tank as too small to compete with someone of Jake's size, but Jake isn't buying that narrative. He's openly acknowledged Tank's knockout power, saying the man hits like a truck despite his shorter frame. For Jake to admit fear heading into this fight says a lot. It's a sign of respect. Proof that he recognizes Tank's skill, explosiveness, and the real threat he poses. And it's a reminder to everyone watching that this fight is far from the publicity stunt some think it is.
Going into a fight that I've actually ever been, because I know how good these people are that I'm sparring, and being able to see how good they are and knowing how good Tank is, it's actually going to be my toughest test to date.
Yeah, I think, Jake, you could make the argument, right? Pound for pound wise, this guy's the most ferocious dude in the whole sport, couldn't you?
For sure. I think he has probably one of the highest knockout percentages.
Yeah, 90-something%, right?
Exactly. And just his speed, his elusiveness, his ring IQ, his conditioning. He's gone 12 rounds so many different times, something that I've never even done. So he's going to be sharp all the way through. I mean, the list goes on. And so just actually being vulnerable for a second, it's like, this is crazy. This is scary. It's kind of keeping me up at night.
Jake, how do you prepare for, like you said, a guy who is shorter than you? How do you find a sparring opponent to replicate something that obviously, there's nobody else out there that's Tank Davis? How do you prepare for a guy that's different stature-wise?
Yeah, no, we have world champions. Raymond Ford in the 130-pound weight class. We got Montana Lovin. Shakur Stevenson is coming in this week. So wow. Just sparring against guys on their level and people who have, been doing this their whole entire lives. But we're really focusing on speed and not as much on power. I'm not doing as much weightlifting and all of that stuff. I'm actually trying to lose some muscle so that I have less weight and so that my punches are coming off faster.
Many fans don't realize the full story behind Gervonta Tank Davis's rise. From the very beginning of his career, Tank wasn't sparring with fighters his size. He was going toe-to-toe with heavyweights. And not just any heavyweights, experienced technical ones who knew how to control the ring. According to boxing commentator Showbiz, Tank didn't just hold his own in those sessions, he dominated. He punished opponents who were far bigger and stronger. So when it comes to facing someone like Jake Paul, size isn't exactly a new challenge for him. Yes, Jake might have the larger frame, but Tank has already overcome that kind of obstacle many times before. Those sparring sessions prove that he's comfortable standing across from giants. As Showbiz pointed out, the heavyweights Tank battled in the gym were far more skilled and experienced than Jake. To his credit, Jake Paul has made impressive progress, transforming from an internet celebrity into a legitimate boxer. But he's still learning, still refining his fundamentals. Tank, on the other hand, has been fighting elite competition since his teenage years. If he could outbox and outlast men heavier and more seasoned than Jake, then Jake's size might not save him here. Showbiz summed it up best. This fight isn't a mismatch in Tank's favor. It's Jake Paul who might be stepping into dangerous territory.
Or bigger people, from middleweight to heavyweight. And the thing is, don't be surprised, okay? This is a photo. This is a photo of one of the bigger guys that he was sparring. But in the past, maybe a few years ago, he was fighting a guy in Mayweather's camp. He was a bigger guy. I think he was a middleweight or something like that. He was whooping his ass. One time he was on live whooping a bigger guy's ass. He's just beating bigger guys like middleweights and stuff, he's done that in sparring forever. Remember this story? I've brought it up a million times and I've showed this clip a million times, but on Ellie Set back. This story of this guy saying how Gervonta Tank Davis knocked out this heavyweight.
Tell me the story. What happened?
Tank, what's the one boy name?
No, don't say a name. I don't want to embarrass anyone.
Oh, no, you're right.
But tell people what happened.
Man, I was about to spar. Before I was about to spar Tank, he was sparring this big boy.
A heavyweight.
Heavyweight boy. And Tank hit that nigga. He hit him so hard that he was on the top of the rope just like this. And like, I thought he died. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you. I thought he died.
Hey, I've seen him knock out some heavyweights. He might knock all the ass out now.
You knocked out a heavyweight?
Yeah.
How was that?
Because I hit harder than Wilder.
Now, granted, the heavyweight that Gervonta Tank Davis is whooping and sparring is not like, all-time great heavyweights, all right? And it shouldn't be. But he's sparring the heavyweight, the level of heavyweight that, more experienced than Jake Paul, right? But Jake Paul has beaten those heavyweights himself, all right? I'm thinking that is the caliber of heavyweight that Gervonta Tank Davis is sparring, but he's whooping their asses. And that's a good thing. With Jake Paul sparring Raymond Ford, to me, it looked like Raymond Ford got the best of him. It looked like Jake Paul was a little exhausted, and it looked like Raymond Ford wasn't. It looked like Jake Paul was a little disappointed in his performance, and Raymond Ford was trying to give him a pick-me-up. Like, just kind of letting him know. No, we do this and do that. It just looked like Raymond Ford was in a confident, secure place, more dominant place, the more alpha out the two in the ring, and that's Raymond Ford. That ain't Gervonta Davis. I love Raymond Ford. I have him on my fighters list. But still, I don't think anyone thinks he's as skillful or as powerful as Gervonta Tank.
Gervonta Tank Davis has made a firm decision about his future. He's done with the 135-pound division. The weight cuts were too harsh, the drain too heavy. Tank wants to stay sharp, explosive, and at full strength. His move up to 140 pounds isn't just physical, it's a sign of growth in mindset and ambition. By stepping into the super lightweight division, Tank is preparing for bigger names and tougher challenges, including his upcoming battle with Jake Paul. And once that fight is over, he intends to stay at 140, confident that this is where he'll perform at his absolute best. For Tank, this weight class isn't a risk, it's an opportunity. Critics might argue that he'll be undersized compared to Jake, but Tank sees it differently. At this weight, his body feels stronger, his stamina lasts longer, and his power becomes even more dangerous. Even at 135, Tank was known for jaw-dropping knockouts. But now, at 140, he's chasing something even more spectacular, true show-stopping power. If his predictions are right, Jake Paul might be the first to experience this new, more dangerous version of Tank Davis. Carmamel Moughton recently shared his thoughts on the matchup, and he's confident that Tank Davis holds a clear advantage. According to him, Tank's experience sparring with heavyweights means Jake Paul's size won't be a factor. Being bigger doesn't make Jake smarter, and that's where the difference lies. Carmamel described Tank as a master technician, a fighter who understands the art of boxing on a much deeper level, while Jake is still evolving and refining his craft. He's not just predicting a Tank victory, he's predicting a dominant one. Having seen Tank train up close, Carmamel speaks from experience. He knows how hard Tank works when the cameras are off, and that insight gives his words weight. As he put it, talent overcomes size, and skill will always defeat strength. Lessons Tank continues to prove every time he steps into the ring.
What if you had it, who has the edge in this fight?
I feel like Tank has the edge for sure. He's a real fighter, and got skills, high IQ fighter. Regardless of the weight, I've personally seen Tank, spar heavyweights, and even me, I spar heavyweights, So the weight's not really too much, for a lot of great fighters, so I feel like Tank will get it for sure.
Do you think he kind of be an advantage because he's small and fast? Someone said that. I'm I didn't think about that actually.
Yeah, possibly. He gonna see a lot of Jake Paul's punches coming. He can be able to evade them and then set him up for a big counter.
Wait, but do you think this is going to be different than the other Jake Paul fights we've seen, against Mike Tyson and Julio Cesar Chavez? I know a lot of people weren't the happiest with that, but I feel like Tank's going to give him a different fight. Do you think so?
I think so. We'll see how he adapts because a lot of people think it's hard, for a small guy to be fighting a bigger guy, but it's also hard for a big guy to be fighting a smaller guy. It's a small target, they're very fast, so we'll have to see how he adapts to it.
Wait, and is Floyd Mayweather versus Mike Tyson really happening?
Yeah, that's happening.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Wait, is there a date already, or what's going on?
I don't think there's a date yet, but it's definitely an official fight and it's happening.
So what do you got to say about that? What's going on?
It's gonna be a great show. you know, Floyd's gonna do his thing. You know, hopefully I'm on the undercard so I can put on a great show as well.
No, really? You guys already talked about that?
Not yet, no, but we'll have to see. Yeah, for sure.
And are you gonna fight again this year? Like, what's next with you, Carmel?
I don't know. At the moment, we haven't heard nothing. We're just waiting, you know, staying patient, you know, staying ready. But I should be back at least one more time before the end of the year.
When the fight was first announced, Shakur Stevenson was one of the loudest voices of criticism. He openly questioned why a world-class champion like Gervonta "Tank" Davis would choose to fight a YouTuber turned boxer instead of another top-tier professional. To Shakur, the matchup felt like a slap in the face to traditional boxing, a move that cheapened the sport he spent his life mastering. But in a surprising turn of events, new reports suggest that Jake Paul offered Shakur a hefty payday to join his training camp, helping him prepare specifically for Tank's unique style. The news sparked major reactions across the boxing world. Analysts pointed out the irony. If Shakur truly believed this fight disrespected boxing, he wouldn't be anywhere near it. Yet when the right number came along, he changed his stance. The same bout he once dismissed as a circus is now one he's indirectly part of. To many observers, it's a reminder of how quickly opinions can shift when business enters the ring. Proof that in modern boxing, money can rewrite almost any narrative.
You saw Jake Paul and Tank Davis?
I don't understand how that's happening though.
I mean, that's kind of what Jake Paul does, right?
The nigga's 7'8". 6, I'm not saying 7'8". Like the nigga's
so what?
6'4".
So you think Jake wins?
Yes.
This is kind of like the Mayweather versus Logan Paul fight. And Mayweather, he got the better of Logan for sure. I think Logan's even bigger.
Than Jake? Fuck no.
Logan's bigger than Jake, yeah. Like bigger, yeah. But Jake's now a more experienced boxer than probably Logan was at that time.
I don't know. That weight shit, man, that shit is a real thing.
What's the odds on that shit? I wonder. Not out yet?
Who you think gonna win out of Canelo?
I don't really follow boxing like
Canelo,
that.
Man. I like
Canelo.
I like my boy, but Canelo's just
Canelo's a beast.
He not old. He still got it. He hit hard as a motherfucker. And then like the fighters he fought and lost to was some dogs though. Like most people won't get in the ring with him. So it's like I feel like I don't know. Has he got this? I don't know. I feel like he gonna land though. What's that? What's the odds on that?
Oh, listen to this. Davis is minus 205 to beat Jake Paul. Jake Paul's plus 155.
Wow, that's tight odds. Tank Davis is minus 205, Jake Paul's 155 open.
Some boxing analysts have pointed out that much of the criticism aimed at Gervonta "Tank" Davis doesn't come from genuine concern for the sport. It comes from envy. They argue that jealousy has followed Tank since the early days of his career. And now, with the potential to earn a massive payday from a single fight, that resentment has only grown stronger. According to these experts, many of the same fighters who call out Tank would jump at the exact same opportunity if it were offered to them. Instead of celebrating his success, they choose to question his decisions and tear down his achievements. In their eyes, the negativity surrounding Tank isn't about boxing purity or matchups, it's about frustration. It's the sound of people who wish they were in his position, watching someone else live the dream they've been chasing for years.
Fire! I get the chance to pick a great business mind brain and help give him some game in the process. I'm down. Oh, we know you're down. So for one, you look like you hating on Tank, bro. Like you specifically. Two, this is the same guy that said he's not watching the fight, but now you're somewhat taking part in the fight because you're trying to gather or help prepare Jake Paul for the fight. And then this is what Shakur Stevenson does, in my opinion. Shakur will make questionable choices, do certain things, right? And then afterwards, he'll be like, yeah, now that I got y'all attention, I got everybody mad at me. Bro, the stuff you're doing is weird. You know what I mean? And it's almost like, to me, it's almost close to like Karen behavior, in the sense that Karens, you see some of these Karens and they do all this extra stuff and then act like the victim. And I told you that's one of the main problems with Gen Z, right? Where Gen Z, they will do just weird things, make weird choices, make weird decisions. And then they'll act like, man, I'm Tupac, me against the world, everybody's against me. Everybody's not against you. You're just doing weird things. You're making weird decisions, it's weird behavior, so on and so forth. So let's ultimately recap. We got to do the Boxing Ego recap to see what's really going on.
There's also been plenty of debate surrounding the rumored payouts for this fight. Reports have floated numbers anywhere between $20 and $40 million, figures most analysts find believable. But when some outlets claim both Jake Paul and Gervonta "Tank" Davis could walk away with nearly $200 million each, the skepticism kicks in fast. Experts across the sport agree the fight is massive, the attention, the buzz, the marketing, all undeniable. But those sky-high earnings sound almost too good to be true. For now, the real numbers remain under wraps. Impressive, no doubt, but still shrouded in mystery.
A lot of money to help him in camp, some easy money to come spar somebody or whatever, go get your money, right? But what's funny to me is for someone who had nothing positive to say about this fight, and someone who was critical of Tank Davis for taking this fight and tried to shit on Tank Davis for taking this fight, he sure is doing whatever he can to be a part of it. He sure is doing whatever he can to be a part of the fight. And then to take that a step deeper and a step further, for someone who doesn't want to talk about Tank Davis anymore, he sure is making moves to ensure that he is continued to be mentioned with Gervonta "Tank" Davis. Shakur Stevenson's not stupid. The new firm that he hired to do his PR work and get him to do these interviews and try to enhance his brand, they not stupid. Jay Prince not stupid. Josh Dubin not stupid. The people around Shakur Stevenson have been building social media brands, building boxers, and building talent in different industries at the same time. I mean, for a long time. They know how this shit works. They not dumb. They know the conversation that is going to surround Shakur helping Jake Paul. Tank Davis' biggest rival going to camp to help Jake Paul. If Jake Paul has any kind of success in the fight, Jake Paul was successful because Shakur Stevenson is on a different level and he helped prepare Jake Paul for the fight with Tank. That's why Jake Paul did so good. They know this, bro. And to me, that's the problem that I always have with these guys like Shakur Stevenson. You can throw Lamont Roach in there. You can throw Devin Haney in there, bro. You can throw Keyshawn Davis in there if you want to. My issue is they won't admit what it is. And I guess it's an ego thing, it's a pride thing, because I get it.
Offset offered his own take on the upcoming fight, one that centers on the physical matchup itself. He believes Jake Paul's size and natural strength could genuinely give him a shot at victory. The weight gap between the two is clear, and in Offset's eyes, if Jake lands the right punch, it could completely change the outcome. Still, Offset doesn't underestimate Gervonta "Tank" Davis. He acknowledges Tank's elite skill set, his ability to dodge, counter, and make opponents swing at air. So while Offset leans slightly toward Jake because of the size factor, he admits that landing clean on Tank might be far more difficult than it looks. In Offset's view, this fight is shaping up to be a true battle of contrasts. Raw size and power versus refined skill and technique. A big, aggressive challenger standing across from a slick, battle-tested champion.